What's up, everybody? We are live again, Dynasty Mirror Search for Uhuru. And I have the brother Okomfo on with us today. And today's topic that we're going to be discussing is the amount of self-hatred in the conscious community. Our brothers and sisters are so self-conscious in the conscious community that it's just turned to self-hatred. We got Negroes who think they are Atlanteans from Turtle Island. We got Negroes who think they are Hebrews. The slave trade never happened. It happened in reverse. They just refuse to be African. So they have to romanticize, I am a descendant of Turtle Island. I am part of the Walkinshaw Chickaway tribe, Wachinchaw Chickenway tribe. No, we just have to romanticize it because we just don't want to be honest with ourselves and just say, and it's okay to be descendants of the slave trade. Okomfo, where's this self-hate coming from?
It's coming from a number of directions. Mainly, it starts with your family. Like if you grew up around or with people or had parents and elders who didn't instill in you from a younger age how important your history was, when you get of age, you're more susceptible to believe anything. Anybody can fill you up with anything they want to fill you up with. When I was growing up, I went to a Pan-African middle school. My mom and my dad are both semi-conscious.
Mm-hmm.
I say semi-conscious because they still had Christianity and all that stuff, but they knew the importance of me knowing about my history and my culture. So it starts at home.
It starts at home.
Yeah.
So you think this, we as Indians, because we got good hair, it just grew from that? We got good hair because we got Indian in our family when it was just nothing more than a hot comb. Is that where it's coming from?
It's a hot comb, blue magic, and some Suffer 8.
Right, exactly. That's good hair.
Yeah, it's good hair. Now the whole we Native American thing comes from African Americans and European Americans having this mythology within their family stories about a mystic shaman Native American ancestor that they had, who was Cherokee or Chickasaw or Choctaw. You will never hear, there's only 5 tribes that you will hear them say.
Right.
You will never hear them claim any lineage to any other tribe like the Hopi or anybody else. It's always 5 tribes. But they never ask themselves why those 5 tribes. Because those five tribes were what they call the civilized, or I call them the sellout tribes, the 5 civilized tribes. They are the ones who held African people in slavery, just like the European. So a lot of African Americans are Native American due to
Slavery.
Proxy of them being property of Native Americans. And after the Civil War, the American government made the natives of the 5 civilized tribes free their slaves and make them citizens of whatever tribe they were enslaved to. So they're not descendants by blood. And it is a very small percentage, a very, very, very small percentage.
And you know what's crazy? These same Facebook pretendians, like they don't speak any native language. They don't. They wear throwback jerseys. They're not into with the culture. They don't even try to be. Like they have to be the laziest pretendians that I've just ever seen. Because at least the Hebrew Israelites, they'll wear their little WWE costumes. The Wabians, they'll dress like pharaohs. But these pretendians, they're just so lazy. Why is that?
Because with them, it's not really about having a nationality or origin. It's more so about compensation, some kind of monies or some kind of lands they can feel like they can finagle away to pretend to be Indian to get some kind of land or some kind of monies or tax break or something. That's what it's really about. I told them a lot of these Native American tribes you're claiming, even within their actual blood tribal members, if you're not within the culture, meaning you're not practicing the culture on your day-to-day life, they don't consider you a member. They don't care how much blood you have. So even within that, they don't even care that, the native tribe, they want you to be a participant in the culture fully. You just can't go around and say you're Native American.
Right.
You gotta live it. Like if I come to your house and I walk in and I smell chicken frying, and I smell black eyed peas boiling, and I smell collard greens simmering, nigga, you ain't no goddamn Native American.
Right.
Period. If I talk to you and we both speak in Ebonics, you're not a Native American.
Right.
Period. There's no way around it. As much as you hate yourself, the things that you hate about yourself reveal who you are. It reveals who you are. Like the women who claim to be Native American, Aboriginal, not African, all of them wear silky horsehair wigs. All of them do.
Right.
And we all know, outside of the whole Native thing, we all know that a lot of women do that because that's what's accepted in the mainstream media as being beautiful, as being acceptable. And that's why they do it. After African Americans' fascination with Indians comes from European Americans' fascination with Indians.
Right.
African American fascination with Egypt comes from Europeans' fascination. Europeans have never fascinated West Central Africa outside of stealing our resources. So African Americans see Western Central as the apex or even the ancestral homeland of all that shit, because Europeans don't see it that way.
So basically, is the white man's ice is colder. So whatever white people glorify, you got some of us that just want to jump on.
Right. Because the whole Lost Island of Mu, Atlantis, that all came from white people.
Right.
The guy, it was Edgar Casey. He literally said he had a dream about this place. He dreamed it up. And the island of Mu comes from, I believe Aristotle or something like that had a theory about some island that sunk somewhere, and often by Greece or some shit. It had nothing to do with anything.
That's crazy. Everyone in the chat room, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you hit that like button. Okay, as you enter, make sure you hit that like button. We're just discussing the self-hatred in the so-called Black conscious community. Just the self-hatred again. I mean, so do these pretendings really think that one day Donald Trump's going to sign an executive order and give them land?
I don't think that. I think that they think that if they say it and believe it enough, that it actually be true. But they can say it and believe it till they get blue in the face, and it would never be true. Because it boils down to this. Let's just speak hypothetically. Let's just say they gain more steam and they get over 100 million people to believe them. And now you have the media and different government outlets who are interviewing them and looking into them. Then what are they going to do? Because the government don't just send media out to get your side of the story. Hate you. Now we're asking for proof because we know it's bullshit.
Right.
When they ask for proof, they're doing it to put you on blast and just stump you out. You know what I'm saying? They putting you on blast on the spot to stump you out. And there's real actual Native Americans online that's combating the bullshit that they're talking. there's real natives who are going to the so-called Aboriginal meetings and busting it up.
Right.
It's videos on YouTube of real Native Americans running up in their shit. Like, listen, y'all lying. You can call the police and do what you want to do to me, but y'all lying.
Right.
So, but I really believe that it's something bigger. It's something bigger than what we all think. It's more. I think it's a governmental front, whether it be a foreign government.
Listen. This is what I gathered. A lot of this information comes from the prison system. That's
true.
So cats are going to prison and learning this shit and bringing it out of prison. All of this, I'm a Moor and that shit, Brother Polite is selling,
sovereignty
and I don't need no driver's license. All these cats read this shit in prison and they bring this out of prison. That's where all this is coming from. It's coming from the prison system.
Yeah. That's how the Nation of Islam spread so fast too. It was going through the prison system. The same thing with the Hebrew Israelites. It goes through the prison system. And you got to think, like, they have to think, why would a prison warden allow anybody or anything within the prison that was going to help you? Like, they go to the prison system and get permission to go teach the same bullshit they teach outside. They go and teach the inmates in jail.
Right.
They get permission from the government and the prison system to go inside the jail and teach this.
Yeah, I just think it's like I said, all this stuff's coming from the prison system. Like, I started to peep that because all these leaders who start all these pseudo groups, they all been to prison.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't know where they're getting these books from, but like you said, it's like somebody in the chat room said, it's all failed white pseudo scholars who get no respect, and then we read the books in prison and we take it and run with it.
Yep, that's true. I mean, that's just the way it is, bro. Like, I'm at a point now, like I said on my Facebook status, if you don't claim to be African American, you don't claim that you have any African descent, just sign over any future right that you have to any reparations or anything that's considered to be given to African Americans or people of African descent. Just sign it over. And I'll never debate you. I'll never talk to you ever again about anything that you claim to be. Because at the end of the day, that's all you really want. Because if Trump tomorrow make an announcement and say that he's going to give reparations to African Americans, you're going to have every pretendian, every Hebrew, every Moorish person in line to get a reparations check.
Mm-hmm.
And it shouldn't be that way. For the last 15, 20 years, Moore has been talking shit about Africa and Africans and African Americans and spreading bullshit. They should have no benefits to what our ancestors worked for. If you say you're not African American or African, you don't deserve shit.
Right.
Period. But they're gonna still get in line. If we don't, this is my solution to everything. If we don't get in front of it and make it to where they can't do it, then we will have a problem. I don't want them to have shit. If I ever get in a position where I can delegate who gets what, they would never get a fucking thing. Zero.
Bro, you got to tell people what you do too, because I spotted you on Facebook through that. I wanted to, man, one day you made a dish when you were at the W in Atlanta, and I swear my ass is about to come up there, but I was just lazy as hell. I'm like, all right, I'll come another day. Next thing I know, you in Arizona. God, this is a gourmet chef.
Yeah,
gourmet.
Well, I'm a chef of 17 years. I cook for a number of celebrity personal chef. I was executive chef of 2 Chainz restaurant in Atlanta for a little while. I didn't like it.
How was it? You're talking about what's the name of it off of Peter Street?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
What's it called?
It was just I don't even want to promote.
Okay, well, don't worry about it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't even want to promote. It wasn't for me. I say that much. Like,
was it telling ratchet? Was that why, or?
Not even necessarily that, because that's the culture in Atlanta, like
right,
music and video girls, IG models. That's the culture.
Let me ask you this: somebody once told me And I can't explain it, but I understood exactly what the guy meant. That Atlanta has a lot of black faces, but no black culture.
It's true.
What are your thoughts on a statement like that?
Because I say it's true. Because one thing major that happened in Atlanta that made Atlanta was, we can go even back before modern time period, during the time period of jazz and African Americans, you know, like in New York, we had the Harlem Renaissance in the 20s,
right.
late in the 20s. You had the same thing in Atlanta. People were coming to Atlanta and doing the exact same thing, right? And after the Great Depression, a lot of people were started to move out. A lot of black people started to move out of Atlanta, right?
Right.
Because a lot of our historically black colleges were there, right? So Atlanta went through a period of maybe 60-something years of it not being really no black influence there until we get to the early 70s and 80s, to where black colleges became a thing again. It became a fad. People wearing the Letterman jackets and the hoodies and stuff like that.
Right. You know, that company came back to AACA. I'm actually trying to buy some stuff.
Yeah, it came back, right?
Right.
So during that time period is right when you get when hip hop, when rap music was taking off, right? And a little bit later on, when what they call like booty shaking music, like, you know, club music came out.
Yeah,
Atlanta started the Freaknik. Yeah, Atlanta started the Freaknik, right? When Freaknik happened, the media played it up as rowdy college students, you know, causing trouble. But it was more than that. It was more than that. Now, this is before the internet. You got hundreds, maybe millions of African-American college students from all over the country coming to Atlanta, and not only being there to party, but also engaging in trading commerce. People were bringing their music down there. It got to a point where people were even transferring and going to school down there. And some people were going down there and never leaving. Right. And staying, you know, graduating and staying and opening up businesses. After a couple of years, the government of Atlanta, they saw what was going on, and they had to stop it. And the way they stopped it was they blocked off all the exits on the highway to where you couldn't get off.
You're talking about doing Freaknik?
Yeah, doing Freaknik, you couldn't get off. They weren't doing this because people weren't getting hurt on a large scale. They weren't getting rowdy on a large scale. They understood what was going on. You have young black educated people who are all congregating in one centralized location.
Facts.
And that was Atlanta. Right? So when it comes to the HBCUs, a lot of people don't know that these HBCUs are either founded and funded by
white people,
European philanthropy.
Right.
Like Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. Spelman College is named after the Rothschilds' grandmother.
Right.
They founded and they fund the school. So
why would they invest heavily into black schools like that?
Because what Europeans do is they think 5, 20 years, 30 years into the future.
Right.
They knew that, hey, once they get the right to have an education and have certain things, we won't be able to stop them. But we can control it by funding it. The same thing they did with the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement started off as a grassroots movement. Right. It wasn't nobody at the head of it or anything. But the government said, listen, we can't stop it, so let's control it. Let's put a head over it. Let's put money into it. Don't stop the March on Washington. Let it come. Let's invite it. So that way we control it. And at the same time, have a facade of us letting them do it when it's really being controlled and operated. Because if you go to HBCU, all their curriculum is outdated. They hardly have any.
Man, let me tell you something else, Okomfo. To make it worse, I was on earlier this year. I was on the campus, the Morehouse, Spelman, Clark Atlanta campus. I swear there are high schools For the amount of tuition that pay to go to that school, there are high schools whose campuses look better. Like it was absolutely terrible. You know, Clark Atlanta, people are paying with like $30,000-$40,000 a year.
Mm-hmm. And they act like the people that go there, the kids that go there, they act like high school students.
Right.
Fighting and shooting and all type of shit. All type of stuff. They act like high school students. And the reason why they paying so much for tuition is the whole facade of it being a black historical college.
Right.
That's it.
But I was shocked to see the condition these campuses were. Now I heard some of the campuses. I'm trying to think, either Hampton or some of the other campuses are nice. But when I was
Temple University.
No, HBCUs, not Temples.
Oh, HBCUs.
Yeah, but but just being on the Spellhouse Clark Atlanta campus was absolute. I'm like, dude, these facilities are whack.
Yeah. I was excited when I moved to Atlanta. I was excited to go down.
When you move to Atlanta?
I moved to Atlanta in 2015.
Okay. From where?
I was from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Oh wow. Okay.
Midwest, yeah. So I was just happy to get down there to see the colleges and just to be in the South again. You know, just to reconnect with, you know, the South. Like African Americans, if you don't leave outside the country, the southern states is the closest thing you're going to get to home.
You think so?
You know what I'm saying? If you don't leave the country to go back to Africa, I think, you know, the South, depending on where you go, like, if you go to South Carolina,
it's changed, man. It's
changing fast. You got to go off the beaten path. Like the way I found the African American culture in Georgia, it wasn't in Atlanta. I had to go to like Augusta, Savannah, and places like that. Then you will find it. It'll be heavy in Savannah. You'll find it. Like you find more voodoo. You find more just traditional African things. Like one day when I was down there with my guy, I found an older lady who was shucking corn and peas and old school shit, and I'm like, my mind was blown.
Right.
And I talked to her, and she's like, yeah, my family been here, and saying her family history, how they're Gullah Geechee and stuff like that.
Right.
So yeah, Atlanta is just I don't know. It's not. I wouldn't recommend it as a place to go for people who are trying to get the African American experience.
Well, the reason why I came back to Atlanta because the real estate was cheap, but now the shit is high.
Yeah, because all the movie, all the Hollywood, all that Hollywood shit is coming to Atlanta now.
How was your? Did you interact at all with people from the conscious community in Atlanta?
Yeah, I did.
How was that?
The conscious community more so in Atlanta are more so actually a community. Like if you go to what's it called? If you go to the West End.
Well, I live in the West End.
The West End, so you already know in the West End you will see a lot of Hebrews, you see a lot of Moors, you see a lot of Muslims.
Right.
And a lot of them, they have actual businesses in the West End. You know, so whether it be hair braiding, restaurants, barbershops, clothes stores, so they have an actual community. But you will notice also too, those are the ones who aren't anti-African.
True.
Or anti-Africa.
Yeah. The Hebrews out here, they're more, they're Vietnamese people. They're more connected to Africa. Yeah. The same thing with the Moors out there and the Muslims out there. You won't hear them say, "Oh, fuck Africa. I'm not African." Da 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 da. They might have a roundabout doctrine, but they're not gonna deny Africa. But yeah, Atlanta. I don't know. I felt like I had to leave again. It wasn't even the couple of years I was there. It changed. Like you said, like I bought a condo in Midtown. Right.
At the 12.
Okay. Big baller. Okay. Yeah. Well, you work right next door to it.
Yeah, like a couple of blocks down.
Right.
And I don't know. After I bought it, I just didn't. I didn't feel right. I felt like I felt out of place. I put it that way. I just felt out of place. You know what I'm saying? It didn't feel right. So I don't know. I just feel like starting over again. The West Coast is more, the weather better. In Arizona is still up and coming when it comes to like communities, and they pay pretty good. The real estate is nice. It kind of reminds me of Atlanta before it started to decline and get over expensive. So
Okay. So what? Let's get back to these hating, so-called conscious people. I mean, what's the end game for them?
I've been trying to figure that out, because I always say, if we all say that we're on a quest for knowledge of self, right? And on that quest, we're researching who we are, right? Why are we then not utilizing and exhausting every resource available to us? Because all those people that you mentioned, they're anti-DNA tests.
Right. Unless, listen. Unless it's for child support.
Yeah, it's for child support. That's for child support. When your pull-out game week, now you want to get it. Now you believe.
Now you want to get one, yeah.
Yeah, now you want to do one now, right? So, yeah, all of them believe DNA test is fake, right? But just imagine if Marcus Garvey had DNA ancestry science.
Right.
Like, it's so many different ways we can use that as a people. Like, that's when it comes to reparations, DNA ancestry is going to be important. They're going to make you get a DNA ancestry test. You're not going to be able to just file and get it. You're going to have a DNA ancestry test, and you're going to have to prove your genealogy. Whatever records you have, you're going to have to prove it. Because contrary to popular belief, they say, well, African Americans can't find any records. Yes, we can.
Yeah.
We can't find records. It's just that people aren't lazy.
Super lazy. Like I said, they don't want to learn the language. They don't want to look for or if they are presented with records, it's a CIA cover to keep us from our land, our birthright. It's a CIA front from the CIA.
Man, like I said, I'm at a point where I'm done talking to them. Like, I'd rather spend more time researching West African culture, West African politics. I'm more so focused on that right now. And I say, when it comes to them, I want to get ahead and think ahead of them and make sure that when it comes time for any reparations to be given out, I don't care what it is. It can be a goddamn potato. I don't want them to get it. I don't want them to get nothing.
Mm-hmm.
When it's time for this country to continue to decline, and all the different people that they came here from their respective countries start to go back, I want them niggas to stay here. I don't want them going to West Africa.
Right.
I want them to stay here.
So I think on the 2020 census, they're going to ask.
You get to pick. Yeah.
Right. How do you think that's going to play out?
They're doing it on purpose, because it goes into what I was saying. They're going to play themselves. Because listen, okay, let me go back. A lot of African Americans don't know that Donald Trump signed the reparation bill, the HR 40 bill. He signed it.
Wait, whoa. I need the facts on this, brother. Where
Go to the Congress website. Go to the U.S. Congress. If you go on your Google right now, you can share your screen and everything. Go to Google and type in HR 40 bill. It's on the Congress website. I'm following it. And actually, it's actually started in the 90s. And the House of Representative member who started it, he retired earlier this year. And another sister picked it up in the House of Representatives. It's an actual bill.
Yeah, okay. Oh, shoot. Commission to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans Act.
And look at the last time they had a session. What did it say, like
March 8th, 2018.
It's more sooner than that. I mean, later than that. The 8th, like August or something.
Okay.
They have. We go down and say like 8/20 something. 2018.
Wow.
Yeah, and you also have HR 1242, and that's another bill that's passed already. Like the president got it, signed it. It's passed already. Let me see. Let me make sure that's the right one.
This is the 400 Years of African
Yeah.
American History Commission Act.
Yes.
Okay, what does this do?
Both of them are looking into the 400-year history of us being here, and they're assessing the damage and what would be a feasible form of reparation.
Oh wow!
Not only that, not only those two. The United Nations declared that from that what year was that? Just type in the International Decade of People of African Descent. The United States Congress, the United Nations declared that this is the decade of people of African descent.
2015 through 2024.
It's a national decade of people of African descent, right? And they're doing the exact same thing. They're looking into it. They're studying it. And also, what do we have? The president of Ghana recently did what? He commemorated and declared that 2019 would be the return of African Americans to Ghana.
Now let me ask you this, brother. The president of Ghana, he's been doing a lot of He's been acting like a full Afro-European lately. I mean, he's prancing around with the Prince of Wales, and we have a shared history. We're going to partner with each other, and he's been meeting with Netanyahu, or whatever his name is, over the president or prime minister of Israel, discussing their possible admission into the African Union.
African Union, they trying to, yeah. That's a beautiful thing about being part of the African. That Ghana is a part of the African Union. They're not gonna go for that.
Okay.
They're not gonna go for that. And what he's saying when it comes to the African American, the year of return, 2019 for African Americans, what he's trying to do is he's trying to revamp the right to abode, because the president who put it into action, after him, everybody else dropped the ball. Nobody really followed through with it. I believe only one person, only one African American out of everybody that applied actually got it within the last year.
Yeah. The thing is, it's so much red tape, which is
he took away the red tape, and he also added the easy visa for people who don't necessarily want to stay and be a citizen. He made it easier to get a visa for African Americans to go to and forth. Like it goes around criminal records.
Oh wow!
The easy visa, yeah. So he made an easy visa. So there's provisions in place that if you do choose to vote, which I'm voting, I don't give a fuck what nobody else talking about.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking for when you cast your ballot. You're looking for people who are for HR 40, people who are for HR 1242, and so you're looking for people who are on, because even the African Union, they added a 6th region for Africans in the diaspora. Right. And when they first did that, I applied to be a part of the youth of the African Union. The youth of the African Union range from the ages of 17 to like 35, I believe, or 32. Right. I applied for that. I never made it out to a meeting yet. They always had their meetings in Washington D.C. or New York. I haven't made it out to one of the meetings yet, but I get the emails, updates, and all that regularly. Where you can go to the meeting and talk to the people who are in charge of the 6th region, and and be right there with it. So that's stuff that we need to know as African American people. And if our politicians and people aren't talking about that, we need to make them talk about that. That kills any of the bullshit that the chatter that's going on online. It's a distraction.
Right. What about people that troll me? These I call them Captain American Negroes. Guys, you work for the CIA. You're trying to convince Black Americans to move to Africa, and then the Africans are going to replace us here in America. Like, what? What are your thoughts on people like that?
People like that are I call them Alex. They Alex Jones. You know
Right.
what Alex Jones is?
Right.
Let's say, that rhetoric, that
Wars.
kind of rhetoric, yeah, that kind of rhetoric comes from Alex Jones. That's where they get that from. That's exactly where they get it from. Almost word from what you just said. Word from word is what Alex Jones sees.
Yeah.
Because he put a couple of weeks ago, he made a video saying how Nigerian Americans are now the leading African ethnic group in America when it comes to economics and as far as education.
Right.
And he said, "Look, see, they're replacing them. African Americans, you better wake up now."
Right. A bunch of
conspiracy fear mongers.
Let me ask you, what's in it? Like, what's in the? Why is it in the best interest of Ghana to have this 2019 initiative for Black Americans, descendants of the slave trade, them reaching back out to us? Like, what's in it for Ghana?
What's in it for Ghana? They're getting more industry.
Right.
Like a lot of people in Ghana have degrees and stuff like that, but they don't. That's one thing people don't understand. A degree don't mean that you can put what you learn into practical application.
Well, it's not even that. All the degrees that a lot of these Ghanaians have, they got them from here in America, too.
Right. And most modern West Central African ethnic groups, that's how they get it. They get it through us.
Right.
They get it through and you made a post about that, how our ancestors' sacrifices over here allow you to come now and to get and reap the benefits of that.
Right.
But when I say that my ancestors come from Ghana, or whatever you want to call me, Akata, or whatever name you have for African American people,
right.
but you come here. I was arguing with a sister, a sister from Africa, on my post, and about reparations. She's saying you will never get reparations, and that's a long time ago. And how would you get that kind of money from anybody? And why would you ask? I'm like, wait, are you African American? No, I'm not. Okay, I don't want to hear nothing you have to say.
Right.
Nothing you have to say. Nothing you have to say matters. Nothing. When it comes to that's where we draw the line. If we're not talking about the slave trade, and you and the other people that were in cahoots with you to put us in the condition that we were in, you have nothing to say.
Right.
Zero. Like I don't hate Africa. I don't hate Africans, but I'm not so lullabied to sleep that I don't know that not only do the American government, the British government, the French government, and the Dutch government, and all the rest of them, and the African governments and kingdoms, they fucking owe us.
Right.
I don't care. I don't care about none of that. They know they owe us. That's why Ghana stepped up and said, "Listen, let's get ahead of the pack. Let's be the first ones to galvanize the diaspora, because the first African country that successfully galvanizes the African diaspora, that's going to be the country that's going to lead the way from this point forward."
Oh, and that's what I said. I said the first African country that reaches out to diaspora wins.
And Ghana already know.
Right.
They own it. Because it's a thing too. It's not only targeting African Americans. It's targeting It's targeting Nigerian Americans too. Because a lot of Nigerians are moving back to Africa, but they're moving to Ghana.
True.
So it's not just targeting African Americans or Afro Caribbeans or whatever. They're targeting Africans in general who are in the diaspora, who are outside of Africa. Even if you're Ethiopian. So a lot of people are picking Ghana and going to Ghana. You have.
But what's crazy though, there was an actual story where a lot of the Ghanaians are kicking some of these Nigerians out and shutting down their businesses.
Yeah, that's going to happen. That's how the whole Biafran war thing started, with the Hausa and the Yoruba and the Igbo. The Igbo were being too industrious and having you couldn't go nowhere in Nigeria and didn't bump into an Igbo.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be a mail carrier, a governmental worker. They was in every facet of Nigeria, and the Hausa and the Yoruba didn't like that. They wanted to get rid of them.
Which is, I think, it's just crazy.
Yeah, but guess who came to their rescue? The Israeli government and the American government. That's why a lot of Igbos say, "Oh, I'm an Israelite." Yeah. That's where it comes from. That's where it comes from.
Shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson in the chat room. Thank you for the blessing to the Search for Who Ministries, brother. We appreciate you, brother O'Shea Duke Jackson. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you. But yeah, this is interesting, man. Let me ask you, why aren't our black politicians pushing the HR 40? I mean, you rarely hear them talk about it. Is there a reason for that?
We're not making them do it.
True.
Because that's the thing about politics. Politics run off of money. Like the way other ethnicities get people in positions in government to do what they want them to do is they pay them.
Right.
Now, not only pay them, a lot of times that person grew up in that community, and from a child, they were groomed to do what they're doing. Like the community paid for them to go to college.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The community paid for their housing and living expenses when they were in college. When they got out, when they graduated, they were put in the position and still funding them to speak on their behalf in the government. And when they don't do it, they cut their ass off.
True.
African Americans don't have no kind of sense of politics or government or anything. So you got people arguing about Republican, Democrat. That's both is bullshit. Okay? And you don't know that you can start your own political party. You don't have to go either way. You don't have to pick either one. You can put your own name on the ballot if you wanted to.
True.
Like, I don't think that we have enough people who enough quote unquote conscious people who talk about politics and government and law. The only people that we do have to do that does that is the Moors, and they're totally off.
Right.
I had a brother tell me that we're not U.S. citizens because of the Dred Scott case. I said, brother.
And then our Social Security numbers tied to the Federal Reserve, and it's worth $1 million. You got to tax it, so it'll be rich.
Okay, and that's contradictory. That's contradictory in itself, because how can a non-citizen have a Social Security number?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Exactly.
I said, brother, listen. The Dred Scott decision was in 1858, right? The Dred Scott decision was ratified in 1866. That's called the Civil Rights Act. And that ratification in 1866 is how we got our citizenship. And it's also a part of what they call the Reconstruction era amendments, the 13th, 14th, and 15th amendments. So you saying that those don't exist? This is made up. Like, you can't vote, you can't hold office. African Americans can vote. Only citizens can vote. So what are you saying that we're not citizens?
Right.
The Moors, they teach outdated government codes, laws, and acts that have been ratified and amended. That's all they do. And they do that because they know the majority of African Americans are illiterate when it comes to American law and politics, especially the Constitution. Totally illiterate. And they're doing it as a get-rich-money scheme. The whole sovereignty movement that they follow was started by Europeans.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, the Europeans were started the first sovereignty movement in the late 60s.
Exactly.
And they were spewing the same rhetoric that the Moors spew today. We free white people, free man on the land, and all the other dumb shit. They spew the same stuff. Exact same rhetoric. The Moors just blackified it. They made it a Moorish thing. The first sovereignty movement was a radical Christian European racist group that believed that they were what? Israelites.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Let's see what we got in the chat room. People, make sure you hit that like button as you come into the chat room. I have Mecca. I have faith in my people as well.
No faith.
Come on, what you say, bro?
I said I have no faith. That's why
Why? Go ahead.
That's why, because we don't have to guesstimate or make up anything.
Mm-hmm.
Simply take a DNA test. If you don't believe in DNA tests, fine. Do your family genealogy. Right? There's nothing that any of these niggas is claiming that's greater than our history in West Africa.
Correct.
You would never top Timbuktu. You would never top the Songhai Empire. You would never top the Kanem Bornu Empire. You would never top the old Oyo Empire. You would never top none of that. Never, ever. Like the Songhai dynasty, the Songhai Empire, and the Mali Empire was bigger than all of North America put together. From California to New York was bigger than that. Like, you won't find nothing greater than that. Like, and African Americans and Africans in the diaspora, we're unique because we have Pan-Africanism. Our DNA ancestry is literally Pan-African.
Right.
I'm 35% Cameroon and Congolese. I'm about 40% Benin, Togo, and it goes down the line. We're literally a human form of Pan-Africanism. Period.
Peace.
Like we embody what Kwame Nkrumah talked about having a borderless West Africa, about identifying just as African and not as, oh, I'm Nigerian, therefore I don't care about what happens in Ghana, or I'm Ghanaian and therefore I don't care what happens in Burkina Faso. You know what I'm saying? He said we're African, period. And Kwame Nkrumah said that no matter how Ghana got its independence, Ghana would never be independent until all of our people are independent. That's what he said. So that's my philosophy. And if, like I said, they're a lost cause to me. If you don't want to be African, that's totally fine. I don't care. Make sure you sign that paper, that petition. I know brothers who are lawyers that draw up documents. I'm going to get that document drawn up. And you sign over your rights to reparations or anything, and we can give those reparations to a family in need when that time do come, and you don't get shit.
Right.
You stay here. If you really believe in the bullshit that you learned on the internet the last 12 and 15 years, because prior to that you weren't claiming that.
Right.
You was a regular Negro Christian. You was a regular Negro Muslim.
Right.
You was a regular Negro. Now since the internet, you got an age of enlightenment of bullshit. That's why I'm for internet censorship. That's why I'm for internet censorship. You will never. Every other ethnicity has mechanisms in place that safeguard their culture and their ancestral past, that don't allow people within or outside of their culture to talk bullshit about their culture. Right. Imagine if a Jewish person got on TV and said, or got on the internet and said, the Jewish Holocaust never happened, and that we're really not Israelites, we're really the Canaanites, and saying all that. They would hang that person, dude. Huh?
They'll shut that down so fast.
But we don't have that. We allow these niggas to run. We allow them to run rampant and say what the fuck they want to say. No other community is gonna do that. Even the Japanese, they're not gonna let you talk shit about them.
Right.
Whether you're a part of the community or you're not. You have somebody knocking on your door for you. Like, come outside. Yeah. What you saying?
Yeah. We what?
So we can kick you out, right? So we can kick you out of the community, right? You don't want to be. You're not Jewish, right? You want to get out. Okay, cool. Make sure you find your kid Make sure you find your kid another school. Make sure that you have another grade plot. Make sure that you're not going to get any kind of monies from the Holocaust. You're going to be cut off from all of that. They even do that within their family. If
Right.
one of their, if a Jewish woman marry an African American
Oh,
man,
no life insurance for you. There goes your.
that's it. It's a wrap for you.
Right.
And that's how they supposed to. And that's how it's supposed to be. I'm sorry, I mean, that's how it's supposed to be. I'm not even mad for them doing that. That's how you preserve your culture. And African Americans.
It's great. Now we'll get the ugly ones. No problem.
Oh yeah, the ones that don't got nothing.
Yeah, no problem.
The real one, the Oppenheimers and the Schumachers and stuff. Nope, ain't gonna happen.
Not gonna.
But your boy Jay Electronica was with one of the Rothschild's daughter.
Oh really?
Yeah, they don't last for long though.
Oh, you never know. I mean,
I saw him in Atlanta. I'm like, man, I took a picture with him and talked to him, but he like, man, you got me looking crazy on the picture, man. Like he didn't even look like himself, really. He was at performing. Yeah, he was at performing. He had a concert. He was staying at the W, and I was coming to work, and he was coming out of the driveway when I was walking up. I'm like, damn. But yeah, I don't think they should be able to benefit from our ancestors at all. I think they should stick with being wrong. We get into argument. There's no more debating. Okay, cool. That's fine. That's fine. Just make sure if you really believe, because for one, you can't show us nothing to prove anything you're saying. So if you really believe this, just sign over your rights. But like, what lawyer do we what lawyer do we need to draw up the documentations and put it in electronic form? Because y'all live in an electronic internet world. Y'all don't live outside the internet. Put the documents in an electronic form where it can be passed around Facebook. You sign it, and you and your family don't get shit.
Right.
When this country go all the way down the toilet and everybody go back to their country, you stay here.
Let me ask, do you think that's going to happen as far as it go down the toilet and everybody immigrates or goes back to their homeland? Do you think that something like that's going to happen?
It's already happening.
Expand on that a little bit.
Recently, what was that? What magazine was that? It wasn't a Ford magazine. I read in the magazine recently that a lot of people like who are known for coming to America, building wealth, and sending it back to their country, they're leaving now.
Oh wow!
You know, like when they were here, they didn't really partake in the American culture anyway.
Well, yeah, they isolated.
They drove their own cars. They shopped at their own stores, kept the money in their own communities. Because guess what? America is a trade colony. So when the people came here, they had the mindset, America is a trade colony. It's not my home. It's not my resting place. We need to stay here as long as this boat is afloat, get some money, and then leave. That's why Donald Trump is trying to stop that. Because he think that's going to save America. He thinks stopping them from coming over here and stopping them from doing that is going to save America. Because he knows that's the reason why it's going to shit. Because the people who made it what it is are leaving. And he's gonna use reparations to get back with the vote.
You think so? Donald Trump, the white supremacist head in chief, as they call him, Nazi, as they call him.
He's the one that signed the bill, the HR 40. He's the one that signed it. Barack Obama refused to. Barack Obama refused to sign it. Donald Trump signed it. Now we gotta wait till it goes to the House of Representatives. And once it come out, and then on the website, it gives you, there's a tracking device of where the bill is at. When it wants to go through the House, then he got to sign it again, sign it into law. But I believe either he's going to do it or the person that's after him going to do it. We got to put pressure on him, man.
Right.
If we don't say nothing about it, they don't care. Like, I wouldn't give nobody no money either if you're not saying anything or no reparations either. if they're not saying nothing about it. You can cry on social media and stuff like that all you want to, but if you're not keeping up with what's going on, how can you cry? Like, the bill is up there. It's up there, man. Like we sitting on our hands right now.
See what else we got here in the chat room. Okay, let's see here. Thousands of Nigerians are leaving the USA to go to Lagos. Like 1 in 20 people has an American accent level out. True, many are building in their own land now. America is no longer what it used to be at this high point. It's over. Shout out to Lumani Lala.
Your boy DeVito.
DeVito. Yeah, the rapper.
Yeah, he was born and raised in
Atlanta. Yeah.
And he left.
Right.
They left. His dad is damn near a billionaire. Money.
Oh yeah, his family's heavily influential and it's heavily involved in Nigerian politics too.
Mm-hmm. People are leaving, man. People are leaving, dude.
So let me, a brother like yourself, would you consider leaving?
Yes, I'm gonna. That's my my contingent plan right now. I want to keep both citizenships because I want my fucking reparations.
Right.
And they're gonna try to play you if you leave. If you forfeit your U.S. citizenship. I need everything.
Mm-hmm.
I want everything. So, and I've been doing I took my DNA test, and outside of that, my family has kept pretty good records of our family history. Like I have records going back to the 1700s.
Oh wow, that's what. So, how'd you do that, man? Because I can't go back worth shit.
With me, I had a lot of ancestors. Well, to start off, my ancestors were slaves to President Thomas Jefferson.
Okay.
And he kept a lot of the records. Like he kept actual names and recordation of the families he had on his plantation. One of my great uncles, his name is Fountain Hughes.
Mm-hmm.
In the 1930s or early 40s, the U.S. Congress had a project going around where they were recording the audio biography of ex-slaves. If you Google voices of slaves, Library of Congress, it'll pop up. It's a whole library of audio of them going to places in the North, going to places in the South, talking to people who were still alive that were enslaved. My Uncle Fountain was one of them, Fountain Hughes. He gave his account of slavery and his family. And then my great grandfather, Lewis Hughes, he wrote an autobiography called 30 Years a Slave, and how he ran away from slavery 5 times. And just it's like a 400-page, 300-page book, an autobiography of his entire life and how my family got to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And before I discovered the book, nobody in my family knew about it. I went down to my main public library, the big one downtown, the brownstone one downtown, the big where they got all the records at. I went to the historical section, and I just combed through all the books, and I found Lewis Hughes. And I said, maybe it's one of my ancestors. And my grandmother was like, "They don't mean it's because you have the same last name. Don't mean that y'all related." And going on and on and on. And I agree with her. The last name didn't mean anything. But in my family, they tell, like my grandmother, my aunties, they always tell stories about the people that came before them, like family stories. Like one of my uncles lost a finger working with a cotton gin, and the slave master made him continue to work until he just bled out. Right? Wow. He didn't die, but he bled a lot. And he was really young. He was like maybe 10 years old, and he lost 1 or 2 fingers. And my grandmother never knew him by name. But she would tell the story. And when I got the book of Lewis Hughes, he was telling the same stories, but he was putting names to the stories. So when I showed my grandma that, she was bust out into tears. She was like, "There's no denying it. This is him right here."
Wow.
So my family have a good recordation of our history. And then I did my own research and pulling up census records, military documentation, land deeds, marriage license, birth certificates. You can get all that stuff online. If you go to ancestry.com and pay for the subscription, you have access to all those records. All you got to do is type in have your mother name, your father name, birth date, death date if they're deceased, your name, and start a family tree. And once you start a tree with your mother and your father, right, with their information in there, you automatically will get a hint. It'll show up as like a little leaf in your family tree. And it'll say possible grandmother and grandfather. And then have their name. You click on that, and then you know your grandmother name and your grandfather name. You say, okay, that is them. You click on that, and then another leaf will pop up, and it's a possible great grandmother and great grandfather. You click on that, and you say, okay, that's them, right? You click on it again, another leaf pop up, and it says possible great or third great grandparents, and it's recordation for all of that, and they're doing that with the census records.
That's powerful information, brother. Well, sure, brother. What we'll do, we'll go ahead and close out. Anything else you wanna share in closing?
Oh, one major thing in closing.
And then also too, share with everybody how they get in contact with you and how they can reach out to you. And I know I've been slacking on the site on Facebook. I definitely been slacking. I will be. Listen, I'm going to be more involved because I'm no longer with corporate America, so I'm going to have more time. So,
all right, hey, whenever you're ready, man. Because my institute is called the African Diaspora Cultural Institute. We have an audience of 300 million people. 3 million people now. I'm sorry, an audience of 3 million people now, as of last month. But in closing, another thing with reparations that a lot of African American people don't know. In 1816, you had a creation of a society called the American Colonization Society, right?
Right.
The American Colonization Society was created out of European guilt and kind of a sly way of them getting rid of the bourgeoisie, educated, free African Americans during slavery.
Right. They went to Liberia, right?
Yeah, they were sending them to Liberia. Even before that, they were sending people to Sierra Leone who were British loyalists, right? But in 1816 or 1820, the U.S. Congress gave the American Colonization Society 4 grants for $100,000 to pay for the resettlement of African Americans in Liberia. That's part of our reparations.
Do you think a similar situation will happen where they'll give us money to go settle somewhere else? Or are they going to try to keep here?
I'm saying that to say that we have right and claim to Liberia and Sierra Leone.
Oh, right. Yes.
Will they?
Because we technically Black Americans found it.
All the presidents of Sierra Leone of Liberia from the 1830s, from the very first president all the way to all the way to 1980
was assassinated.
Yeah, exactly. When they started the Liberian Civil War,
right?
All those people were descendants of African American slaves who were brought there. All the presidents before that. When Liberia was first established, what they did was they were putting a mulatto people in charge who are heavily European with a little bit African ancestry, right? They were doing that, and a lot of them were Freemasons. They were mulatto, but they were mainly European ancestry, and they were Freemasons, right? And what you had a party called the Whig Party,
Right.
who were African American Prince Hall Masons, who saw what was going on and they stopped it.
Mm.
And they put in place. They put the first. Hold on once.
Go ahead.
They put the first all African American, no admixture president in office, and his name was James Edward something. You can look him up. You can look. I forget his name, James Edward something. But yeah, Liberia is ours, and Sierra Leone is as well.
Mm.
We have birthright to both.
Thank you. This is excellent info, brother. We gotta get you back on here. We definitely gotta get you back on here in the near future. But everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you go to Search for Uhuru on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Everyone that joined, please like, share. If you're new to the platform, please subscribe. Until next time, family, Dynasty Mirror Search for Uhuru. I might come back on with Holub like in 5 minutes, or if not, this afternoon at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So until next time, family, peace.